welcome to the Nasboys podcast. I'm your host, Mike, aka Mike Fob Fan 101, with my good friend and co-host, Cam, aka Noticed_Cam.
Howdy, y'all.
So let's get down to talking about this weekend's interesting weekend at Phoenix. We're going to kick things off with the Xfinity race. I will go first this time. Xfinity race didn't seem too bad. Let's see. We got Josh Berry, actually. He had a bit of a rough day just to start out the show with. He had a rough day. He got turned by Chandler Smith. Here's that. And then the big
Whoa. And Josh Berry goes around.
Brake. Hold the brake.
one, he got turned by his teammate Sam Mayer with about, I don't remember how many laps to go, but he did get turned by his teammate. Here's that. So that was
But he was running in the top 5. That's his teammate.
Oh, man.
Huh.
Yeah, there was a couple laps before that where I saw Sam get into the back of Josh over here in turns 3 and 4, and I didn't really think of anything of it, but he got into him again right here and spun him out.
Things that make you go,
There's no bump drafting at Phoenix.
that was a little weird. I don't know what that was about. Sam looked really aggressive with Barry. One driver that really impressed me was Sheldon Creed. Sheldon Creed came back from a late spin, and then he ended up finishing around like 3rd, I believe. So
Looks to me like the left rear tire is already flat.
Yeah.
Maybe there was contact earlier. Everybody does a great job. Wow. Look at the 6 car.
that was very, very impressive. Justin Allgaier as well had a decent day, but he ended up kind of getting into a little bit of a spat with Kaz Growler and Brandon Jones. Here's that.
once again, into turn 3, this has been the issue corner a lot of times.
Oh, man.
Brandon Jones.
That was the first hit. Oh, and it's not over yet. Oh.
Yeah, and that was just a chain of events there, kind of one of those racing deals where the 9 got in the corner right here, got into the back of him just a little bit. Yeah.
The competition meeting at Junior Motorsports is going to be
entertaining.
Yeah, this is the 2 of them.
Yeah, it's definitely going to be entertaining because the 1 got into the 8.
Yeah.
9 into the 7.
A lot of combo shots happening here.
So overall, it just seemed like it was a really decent race. I don't really know what to say about it. Typical Phoenix race, but congratulations to Sammy Smith getting his first career Xfinity win and becoming the youngest driver to win at Phoenix. So that was very interesting.
Yeah, congrats to Sammy. And then definitely this weekend's been really eventful. So I think there's going to be more that we're going to talk about, but yeah, there's been a lot in the NASCAR Phoenix races.
Oh yeah.
Then no, I don't.
All right. So now let's take a look at what you guys had to say. 0% said great, 50% said good, 50% said mess. That's okay. Nobody said bad. Henry24257 says, glad Smith got his first win, but Phoenix doesn't deserve 2 dates, in my opinion. 6 out of 10. I completely agree. Phoenix is not a track that deserves 2 dates. And I don't like that it's a championship race. I think we talked about this last week, but I just don't. It's stupid that it has 2 dates and it's the championship race.
Yeah, I don't know why NASCAR decides to pick the most uneventful tracks to have a championship race. Like, I understand not having Dega or Daytona as a championship race.
Yeah,
like, I actually
that's
get
too
that.
much.
Yeah, I get that. Yes, I understand, get that. But there's just way better tracks, man. I mean, come on, like Homestead, Phoenix. It's all this the same.
I don't mind Homestead, but I would rather see it at like Bristol or like Martinsville,
right. Bristol.
Darlington. Bring it back to Atlanta like the old days. Even though it's not the same track, it's still Atlanta.
Even though it already has enough races, North Carolina.
Right, Charlotte, the home of NASCAR. Like
I was gonna say Charlotte.
Right, I mean they start with where NASCAR began, Daytona Beach. So why not end it where it's the stock car capital of the world with Charlotte at the Charlotte Oval? I mean, they could still have the Roval. Charlotte could even get 3 days. I mean, I know they'll probably never do that, but it would be a cool idea to see Charlotte get the championship track race. But I don't know. Why don't you guys comment down below where you want to see NASCAR have the championship race? That'd be a good discussion to have. Driver of the day, nobody. I gotta look at it again. I know Allgaier, again, like I said, he won both stages, but he wrecked, so I don't really know who to give it to. Sammy Smith looks solid, so I might give it to him, but I'm just gonna check the results. What do you think, Cam?
I don't know. I'm gonna say Sammy because, like I said, that's pretty cool that he did that.
I mean, but then again, Sheldon Creed, he wrecked and then ended up finishing third. So you know what? I'm gonna give it to Sheldon Creed just for that. He spun out and then came back to finish third. So Sheldon Creed.
Okay, yeah.
All right, now let's talk about the Cup race. Didn't really get that much of a chance to pay attention to it, but from what I did see and from the highlights I watched, it was an okay race. First race with the new package, and I could already tell there was a big difference. It wasn't as boring, and there was a lot more eventful racing, especially at the end, which I'll talk about the finish in a little bit. One wild thing that happened in this race was Eric Almirola, his wheel, like not just the tire, but the wheel fell off of the hub. It was really, really weird.
Right here. In the wall, Eric Almirola. Wheel right at the start-finish line. I heard the tire explode. The wheel left the hub. It's rolling around by itself. And hope nobody hits it. We're under caution. And that's not the entire wheel.
That's a good chunk of it.
Yep. So the first caution for cause in this race comes out at lap 139. Almirola trying to rebound from a crash at the end of the race last week when somebody got up in his line, bringing out the yellow flag.
Something broke, gave away. It just took a hard ride, and then all of a sudden that wheel spits out. I'd say whether it came off, got loose, or something, that has something to do with what happened. That wheel.
See, there's a couple other things I wanted to mention. I think Brad Keselowski, he did decent. William Byron and Larson just straight dominated the whole race. I thought Larson was going to win, but then Harvick ended up getting a late race charge. And then Harrison Burton, he spun out. He just got loose off the corner. Here's that.
Either watch this. Harrison Burton up on the top of the screen, spins, gets it sideways all by himself.
And then just ended up spinning, ruining Harvick's strategy. William Byron took two, and then ultimately just had the better car. But the finish was really eventful. That's what I would like to see at short track racing. It was like 4 cars battling for the win with like 2 laps to go. That's awesome.
A Chevy and a Toyota. Here we go. Back to green.
Not quite as good, but he has some help.
You're good. You're good. Get back up. Still outside 24. Still outside 24.
24 is on the outside of him. Holding tough.
Still there. You're clear down. Still out there.
Somebody's
Here comes the run of Blaney.
Here he comes.
Middle.
What's your 45 Reddick with those 4 tires?
How high will he go?
Blaney to the bottom.
William Byron.
Can he get there? Byron will take the white flag. The next flag ends the race. 3 wide per second.
Keep an eye on his 45. 4 tires. Can he make it stick?
Half to the bottom. 12. You got tight.
William Byron.
All right, Blaney second. Tyler Reddick boxed in. Boxed in by the 5. No place to go. And for the second week in a row, William Byron comes off turn 4. Checkered flag, Byron.
That's racing to me, not this other BS where William Byron pulls out to like a 3-second lead. Like stuff like that is just perfect, you know? He made that perfect move and ended up getting his 2nd win in a row. So I'm very impressed right now with William Byron, and he's looking good to be a Final 4 contender at the moment.
Yeah, I know earlier in the season, when we had our first episode, I think I remember saying that I thought Byron has a big chance of winning it this year. So, I think that's still going to be something to look forward to. And as Mike said, yeah, the wheel. I mean, dude, it was like the most weirdest thing I think I've ever seen. Like,
Right.
it just popped off. It was really weird. And then I also want to go off what Mike said too with the new race package and how it dealt at Phoenix. I am excited to see how it runs these other tracks that are kind of more boring because I will say I definitely noticed there was more competitiveness and there was more of like there was more of an attitude to it. That's what I'll say.
Right.
There was more of an attitude. It gave a little story to it.
I agree. Definitely. And Danica Patrick as well came back to commentate, which is something I want to mention. Never have her on. She did a little better this time, but I just do not like listening to Danica Patrick, and I would rather listen to Danica Patrick commentate an open wheel race because that's more her field. I mean, that's like
Yeah.
having Dale Jr. at an open wheel race. He doesn't really know too much about what's going on. Danica raced in NASCAR, yeah, but I just don't think she's as knowledgeable as some other guys there. I think you could pick a lot better people.
Yeah,
So,
right. Yeah, no, I agree. I mean, I you know how I feel about Danica, man.
but I mean, I'm glad she was in the sport because she brought a lot more attention to it, but I don't like her.
Yeah, no, I agree, but there's just something about her that gives me like this vibe off her, man,
Right,
that
I
I
agree.
can't shake off. That's first of all, but second of all, about Danica, she acts like she's the greatest female NASCAR driver ever, and it's just like, no.
I will say she is a great open wheel racer, and I wish she got more time in open wheel racing instead of moving up to NASCAR. But yeah, I mean, she did fine, good in some races. Like I remember her leading laps at Talladega, and I remember her getting a top 10 or two at Martinsville.
Yeah, I mean, here's what I'll say. I think Danica is somebody where I'd say she's one of those in those top 10. She's probably my top 10 list of what ifs.
What if Danica Patrick like waited to go up to
Yeah,
NASCAR?
what
What
if
if
they didn't
Danica
rush her
stayed in
because she
open
was
wheel
bringing in
racing?
big
Right.
money and advertisements? If she wasn't, if she, listen, let me tell you now, if they didn't rush her and it wasn't because there was a money rush for her and there was a push from the people and she just stayed her course like she would have, I wonder how much better she would have been.
True. Comment down below as well how you guys feel about Danica Patrick. So taking a look at what you guys had to say about the cup race. 0% said great, 30% said good, 50% said mesh that's okay, and 20% said bad. Henry24257 says lots of boring racing and unnecessary finish. How is that unnecessary? There's 4 guys battling for the win, Henry. What you mean, bruh?
Yeah, right.
Shadow underscore racing says 38, excuse me, says average, but the middle was boring. And then I guess the big thing to talk about, which I can't believe I forgot to talk about this, Hamlin versus Chastain, part 4 or 5. If you haven't seen what happened, here it is. So basically, it looked like Chastain just got into him a little bit. I'm gonna rewatch it actually now live to see what goes on. But Hamlin is being scrutinized right now because he said that he intentionally wrecked Chastain. Apparently, what he did was he let go of the wheel when Chastain got into him and took Chastain with him. I think that was a fair move because Hamlin has had enough of Chastain's crap, like a lot of the field. I mean, Chastain always is getting into people, and he's always like, "Oh, I need to do better," and he ends up, he just ends up doing nothing about it. He's like, "Oh, Jamie, I need to do better at this," and then again, he just slams into everybody. And yeah, I'm watching it right now live on a podcast to make sure I know what I'm talking about exactly. And Hamlin clearly wrecked him. Clearly, I think it was a good move to penalize him, but I understand why Hamlin's upset. I'm neutral on this, honestly. It didn't look like Chastain did too much unless he did something and I missed it. But I completely understand why Denny is upset, and he should not have admitted that he wrecked Chastain, in my opinion.
Yeah, no, I will say a couple things. One, I want to say is, this channel is unbiased because me and Mike can't stand Hamlin, and I'm on Hamlin's side here. I am on Hamlin's side, and I'm on and here's the thing. I feel like being on Hamlin's side, I'm not just on Hamlin's side. I'm on everybody's side in Cup Series because Chastain hasn't had a real punishment yet, and we can all admit it. He's had his sorries. He's gotten away with everything. You know what? He's like the boy who cried wolf. Like that's the best way I can describe it.
That's true.
It is. No, it is. It's like just like the story. He calls for sheep. He causes trouble and almost wrecks drivers, gets them in trouble, and then he just says sorry and acts like nothing happened. So at some point it does, but I think it was a bonehead move for Hamlin to admit that he wrecked him on purpose.
Right.
That was a very bad idea, and because of that, now Ross is in his own world. So now I wonder if Ross is going to retaliate. I mean, who knows, man? I just think it's very, very dumb for him to admit that. But like I said, am I mad at him? No.
Well, they hashed things out, it seemed like, but who knows? I saw him talking after the race. So we'll see what happens going forward.
Yeah.
I wouldn't be surprised if there's another chapter with these two.
I wouldn't be surprised if there's just another chapter with Chastain. Let's say that. I have a strong feeling.
Chastain's definitely he definitely has a lot of enemies on the track. I mean, I've seen people like Austin Dillon criticizing him. I think I saw Brad Keselowski criticizing him a little bit. Kyle Busch has criticized him. I mean, some of those drivers are pretty big names. So for them to criticize you and like Austin Dillon, you don't really see criticizing too many people. For people like that to criticize you, that's bad, man.
Right, yeah, right. That's a good point. When NASCAR, like the drivers that are like relatively chilled people and kind of just keep their mouths closed, starts talking, I mean,
Right.
it's definitely off.
Yeah, and then for the poll on thoughts versus Hamlin and Chastain, 25% said they were on Hamlin's side, and 75% said they were on Chastain's side. I guess for that incident, considering that it was somewhat unprovoked, I wasn't sure exactly, but just judging by Hamlin just getting into him, I can see why people would be on Chastain's side on this, but in general, I'm on Hamlin's side.
Yeah.
So Henry says, I don't know what Denny was thinking taking him out for no reason. Then the one brake checked him. Yeah. Driver of the day, either Larson or Harvick. I'm going to give it to Kyle Larson. He was very dominant throughout the race.
Yeah, I'm also going to give it to Larson. I thought Larson was pretty good this race. And plus, I feel like I've seen him race good, but I feel like it kind of gives me old Larson vibes when he won a bunch of races, So,
yeah, like in 20.
Yep.
Definitely. So I guess the next thing we can talk about is Hendrick being penalized, which is a big topic because you don't really hear about Hendrick getting penalized and to the extent that they got penalized. Obviously, William Byron, he won his second race this season and second race in a row, but he still got the penalty, and it dropped him from 4th in points to about, I believe, 29th or something like that. And it was for all the Hendrick cars except, actually, no, the 9 did get a deduction. So the penalty is 100 owner points and 100 driver points, plus 10 NASCAR playoff points for the numbers 5, 24, 31, which is not a Hendrick car colleague, obviously, and the 48 car. Or I believe they made an unapproved adjustment on the hood. I forgot the part, but they made an unapproved adjustment on the hood, which caused this penalty. And then the 9 team has been issued a deduction of 100 points and 10 playoff points as well, but no owner's points. The crew chiefs have been fined $100,000 and got suspended for the next 4 races. Here's my take on it. I'm glad NASCAR is being not lenient, that was the wrong word, but more upfront with these penalties, and they're not letting drivers slide. Like, these are legitimate penalties. But I don't really know exactly like what they did to the car to make it better. Like if it was to give it an advantage, then absolutely that's a great penalty. But if it was to fix something with the car or whatever, like there was a problem with it, then that's BS. But if it was really to give them a competitive advantage, great call, NASCAR.
Yeah, I tell you what, man, that 100K is brutal. But I will say though, if they did make it as an advantage, and even if they didn't, and it was just a mistake, that was a good way of making an example for the rest of the teams.
Don't screw around, right?
Yeah.
We saw it as well with RFK last year. They made it a quote unquote safety adjustment because they felt the wheels weren't safe enough, and they ended up getting a big penalty, which cost Brad Keselowski's season, put him in this slump.
Yeah.
So we all know NASCAR is not screwing around, which I think is great, but I think that they got to be more selective with which teams exactly they're going to, do this to. So I don't know what exactly Hendrick did, but I think that if they were trying to do it, I think this is a great penalty, and it will be interesting to see how Byron Bowman, Larson, and Elliott all rebound from this, especially with Elliott. His leg he's hurt right now, and he's out for the next 5 weeks.
Oh yeah, I remember that. Yeah.
So yeah, what's your take on that? I don't even think you made a take.
Yeah, I definitely think it's interesting. I mean, now, don't get me wrong, I don't think cheating is really an issue as much now as it used to be back in the day. But, every once in a while, man, you still wonder,
Right, Cab. And then Denny Hamlin, his fine was 25 driver points and a fine of $50,000 for violating section 4.4 of the NASCAR rulebook. So now I guess we can get into meme of the week. My meme of the week this week is this one right here by NASCAR Memes IG. Here it is on the screen. You can see it. Ross Chastain minding his own business. You, Denny Hamlin, losing spots due to old tires. You're coming with me. I thought that was pretty funny.
Yeah, I think that one, and then the one I'd also say I thought was funny was the slide that's next to it, which is Ross Chastain and Denny Hamlin every other week, and it's
I gotta get out of here. Yeah. Oh shit. Holy shit.
Just them going after each other.
Yeah.
These cars road rage.
I thought this one was pretty funny as well. Same guy, Harrison Burton watching Kevin Harvick lead at Phoenix by 5 seconds with 12 to go. Yeah, I was really rooting
Party's over, Grandpa.
for Kevin Harvick, and then Harrison Burton just ruined the dream of Harvick getting his last win at the track or at one of his best tracks. So
yeah,
but he still got another chance in November, even though he'll probably not be as competitive. I still think Kevin Harvick gets a win, though.
I think Kevin Hart's going to get at least a win, man. He knows. Listen, it's his last year. I feel like he'll go out with a little bit of a bang.
Yeah, I mean, he's been looking pretty solid this season. Typical Harvick. All right, now I guess we can make our picks for Atlanta. This is going to be pretty exciting. Plate track race. Starting out with the trucks. If Kyle Busch is in it, which I don't know if he is or not, then I'm going with him. But if not, I'm going with Corey Heim.
Yeah, I'm also going to go with Corey Heim. Darn it, Mike. You knew I had to listen. Okay, Mike can attest to this though. I did have this pick a couple last weekend.
Yep.
I did call this pick.
Okay, so Kyle Busch is not in the truck race, so I'm still going with Corey Heim. Sorry, Cam.
Nah, it's all right, man. It's all right. I get it.
So for the Xfinity race, I am going to say the new Xfinity plate track master, Austin Hill. I think there's a cup driver in this race, though. I'm just double checking. But for now, my pick is Austin Hill.
Oh, man. For Xfinity, who would I want to go with?
One thing that is going to be interesting is that Chad Chastain, Ross Chastain's brother, is going to be in it. He's going to be driving the number 91 car. would buckle up and protect your melon on the car.
What about Oh, I'm in the middle. I'm between Custard and Nemechek. I'm going Nemechek.
Yeah, Nemechek's not a bad pick.
He's gonna do it, man. He's gonna do it. Well, I thought Custard too. Like, even though, like, yeah, technically, like, I don't really know if he's ran that good at Atlanta.
Well,
I just feel like he has some more experience than other drivers.
Nemechek did solid on the cut or the truck when he was in Atlanta.
Yeah, so I think I'm gonna go Nemechek.
Yeah, I guess for these races, if I want to talk about like a preview for these races, I'm not going to expect much because I really don't like the Xfinity and truck package that they have at super speedways. I think it'll be a solid race because I didn't mind how they raced on the new Atlanta surface, but I just don't like the package. So I'm going to expect a mid race. And then for the Cup Series race, I think this one's going to be solid. I'm going to say maybe around 6.5 or 7, around there. It should be pretty eventful at some points. Hopefully we don't see too many wrecks. For this race, I think William Byron is going to rebound from this penalty and he's going to go 3 in a row. He's been very solid at Atlanta before. He won the last time in the spring, and then he almost won again in the summer race, but his teammate Chase Elliott won it. William Byron ended up finishing second. He's very, very competitive on plate tracks as well. He works really well with the Chevys and his other teammates. Some other drivers to look out for are Ross Chastain. He also did really well. I think he got into a little bit of an incident, though, at the end. Eric Jones has been a very strong plate racer. And his teammate, or not his teammate, excuse me, Ross Chastain's teammate, Daniel Suarez, looks really good. Bubba Wallace is always a threat on plate tracks. So this one should be more exciting than the truck and Xfinity race. So I'm looking forward to it. Hopefully I can watch it.
All right. I'm gonna all right, you ready? No, this isn't bad. It's not bad. It really isn't. Christopher Bell.
That's a solid pick, dude.
That's a solid pick. I know.
That is solid. That you're like, oh, it's not that bad, and then you end up picking Christopher Bell. That's solid.
I know, but I gotta set it up like that because then listen, people. Nasboys hack right here. Sometimes if you feel like your pick is good, but you want to make it even sound like it's better, you answer it up by being like, I don't know, guys, it might be trash, and then say a good pick.
I even have him on my fantasy team. So that's not a bad pick.
Yeah, dude, I think Christopher Bell's gonna have a great year this year. I just feel it.
He's gonna have a solid year, definitely. I
think he is, and I think this is gonna be a win.
I think he's gonna win on the Bristol Oval race when it's not covered in dirt and it's normal. But that's in the playoffs.
Yeah, dude, yeah, that is a good. Oh man, like that's good.
We'll see what happens. The Bristol night race is months and months away in the playoffs. Bell could even get a win at Richmond. Who knows? But anyways, I think that's going to close out this week's episode. Thank you guys so much for watching. Comment, like, subscribe. Make sure you guys follow our socials. Join the Nasboys Fantasy League, and we will see you guys in the next episode. Peace.
Peace.